Yo, what's up, everybody? Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Yeah, this is the after show. I didn't plan on having after show, but I'm still awake. I'm not really tired. It's just too damn hot. PJ did an awesome job streaming that, so thank you very much, PJ. You rock. Have to say, you are awesome, man. So there is the link in there. If you guys would love to come in, it would be great to see you. Um, I really appreciate you all. Did I put in? Restream. There we go. But yeah, it was very telling. Was very telling what was going on. I enjoyed it. I think it was great. What's up, PJ?
Oh, dude, he
What are
didn't
your
try and
thoughts?
debate at all, did he? He was just trying to get you into 11 frames. That globe. Oh, I trapped you. It's not the 2012 blue marble or whatever. So what? There were still clouds were still the same. Slight things were changed. It was still the same
Mm,
things. It was.
but that's the thing. He thought he can just outwit me, but what does the outwit? Doesn't he think there's more than one model?
And then he had to
Like
bring that thing up
it
when
shows
you.
you his level of thinking.
Yeah, and he brought that thing up when you were saying ridiculous,
Hey,
ridiculous.
Roger, you got a lot of background noise, mate.
Do I? Is it bad?
Yeah,
Oh, wait a minute. I know what it is.
very bad, man.
I got to plug my mic in.
So,
It's the
yeah,
computer.
just what do you have to say? Godzilla37, thank you for your super chat. He says, "Good job, Flatzoid."
Oh,
Appreciate it, man. You
definitely.
rock.
Fuck, I caught him out
Really
on a
appreciate
couple
it.
of lies with those super chats, dude. He wouldn't answer
Well,
properly.
Roger,
He would not.
I think you said that you didn't, you weren't allowed, you weren't given permission to go in.
No, he didn't say that. He said he talks to a lot of people. What? You heard me talk to him directly, dude.
Yeah, I
You
heard
were
him.
there.
It's
Yeah.
recorded. I thought he was saying that he didn't say it. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. I
But
didn't
don't
hear
And
you
it.
guys? But
he never got back to me.
Hmm.
don't you guys find it very interesting that his whole tactic from when he came on was just trying to badmouth me
Yep.
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
try and ad hom and character assassination?
Yeah. And the
And the
video.
weird thing is, the guy literally says, "You changed your position," and then shows me saying the same thing I've been saying all this time. It's like,
And he took a video from 2 years ago. That's before I started showing my face. It's because it's on that. You can see that I didn't
that's
even have
long
an
ago.
avatar. I didn't even have an avatar. It's from about two and a
But
bit
it
years ago.
doesn't it doesn't matter anyway because I was said exactly the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I think Eddie's might be right. I think they've already made this thing. It's a hit piece, man. It really is.
It does seem to.
He,
I don't know about you guys, but it does seem to me that Duffy is quite a dishonest guy.
Very
His
dishonest.
character he had tonight wasn't really showing Christian behavior because
No.
everything he's doing is trying to badmouth everybody and
lying. And tricking.
yeah.
Tricking is lying. Tricking is lying.
He's a liar.
So he's trying to trick you, and he said he was trying to trick you, and that's lying.
What does the Bible say about going out your way to try and deceive people?
Yeah,
No,
man.
that's him.
Yeah, that's him. Exactly. He says don't do
Because
it.
his whole everything he was trying to do was almost like I got you kind of thing, which is called deception. But poor him, he doesn't understand. I've already had these arguments before.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, but like we're all so nasty. All the flat earthers are just horrible. But all the globers are lovely. That's why they do what they do. I lovely. They're vulgar.
Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
People get banned. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and they deserve to get banned because they get warned, they cross the line, and they get banned. If you cross the line, that's your problem. The fact that they have to keep super chatting to play victim shows you that they're doing that. That there's a reason for this.
And you free them now and again, and they get banned again. That shows you how bad they are.
And I laugh now when he says about, oh, you don't know the pitch data, and then explains when they land and nose up.
Oh,
It
I know,
wasn't even
nose
about
up.
that. It
It's like,
wasn't even
dude.
about that.
I know.
Talk to pilots. I have spoken to pilots.
why do they nose up to start with when they go in for a landing? I think they're slowing
It's
their plane
because,
down.
like I explained in the Bob stream we had earlier,
Yeah.
it's all just got to do with the different forces. You got thrust, and you got friction. Okay,
Yeah, you're
and then you
slowing
got
down.
force. Yeah, pulling you down your weight. So you have to play the dance. The faster you go, the more friction you got. And the slower you go, the less friction you got. So you have to angle it at a perfect way with the thrust to be able to carry on flying level. You can drop in altitude just by dropping your thrust. You don't have to change your angle. But the point is, their data doesn't show this. Their data doesn't show anything accounting for any curve. Hey, what's up, Dave? It's so good to see you. I was happy to see you in the chat there by PJ, man.
Oh, definitely, bro.
I'm glad
That
you're
was a
okay.
low. That was a low blow with Nathan, dude. That was.
That's why I called him out. I was like, dude, this is like going too far, man.
What
Come
do you
on.
mean? What do you mean by that, Nature Boy? Whose channel is this, Flats? I remember it used to be yours. What's that mean?
Still Flatzoid.
Still Flats's.
It's still my channel.
Huh?
Don't know what kind of question that is. It's weird.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Oh, I didn't mute her on purpose. It's just I'd say something and go back and mute because I wasn't trying to talk through it too much. But I did have to put a few bits in here and there. And yeah, when she did start talking, sometimes I'd already been pressing mute. I was on my way to press mute anyway. But I did let her say a few things.
Look, that man, I never want to hear his voice, his smarmy face, or anything ever again. He is, do you know what? He's worse than the rest of them. And he is, do you know what?
Very dishonest.
Be a man of God.
Mm-hmm.
But how's that trying to tell me I don't understand the Bible when he literally shows he doesn't?
I know. He's
I
saying,
hope Nathan Oakley sues him, because I would.
there was no need for that. No need
No.
for that.
Yeah, he never slapped a girl, and there was a noise in the background.
Yes,
And they
Yeah.
claimed he slapped. Exactly.
Yeah.
What's
That was wrong.
it got to do with Duffy?
Mm.
Nothing.
I explained that as well when I heard that in the channel. I
My dad
muted everything and
smacked my
explained it.
ass, it didn't kill me.
Yeah, but that's not what happened anyway. They say it because they had a bloody noise off camera. That's just surmising. That's putting 2 and 2 together and getting 148.
No, but that's what they do. They lie to make us look bad, when in reality, they're the ones.
Yeah. Exactly.
My question is about the South Pole Station. I want to dig into that topic now. I want to
Flat
see.
earthers are not
But you see, he also didn't understand what I was saying with they can go from one side to the other. It's just a map. The guy doesn't understand what a reification fallacy is. He doesn't understand what a false dichotomy is, for Pete's sake.
Well,
you
past
know
the 400 mark, I got 100, 402.
I saw.
guess-
That's why I congratulated you. Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't know.
You did it?
Oh, Sandro. Hey, Sandro's in there. What's up, man?
Hey, Sandra.
Hey, Sandra.
Hello, everybody.
Good to
Hello.
see
What's
you,
up,
bro.
man?
Well done, Flats.
Thank you. What was your thoughts?
I don't think Duffy had anything at all.
Nothing.
He was just there to attack.
Yeah, he was on about you changing your position, but we all change our position on new information.
That's
But
true.
I didn't change my
You
position.
didn't.
And I said I'm willing to change my position if it's shown that way. That's all I said.
Yeah,
So I don't see how I was. But I think this whole thing that was because he approached me for this, by the way. Like I said, I think he did this because he was trying to think, he's gonna have a gotcha on me. In the meantime, what's the gotcha?
I know. He really was smart. I mean, anything he said, he thought this was like revolutionary stuff. Like, nobody's done this before, you know. Nobody's got to get you like I'm going to get him. Well, it's just come on. He wasn't debating. He was just trying to block him.
But that's what I say. His whole thing was he's trying to make me make a claim, and then he's trying to be deceptive and how can I put it? Just insult.
Yeah.
It's just more.
Because I didn't really see any arguments.
Biblical cosmology isn't even a debate. Google mainstream.
Hey, Lowry's in the house as well. LJ, thank you
Lowry.
very much for the $2
Hey.
super chat. He said
Hey,
he
Larry.
lost.
What's up,
Good
guys?
job.
That was fucking amazing, dude. I'm sorry, like that's going to be one of the interviews that's going to be dissected for I would say a year, if not 5 years from now. And I like Weiss and I were like chatting back and forth. I was like, do you hear that? Do you hear that? Do you hear that? Then when he claimed to be the savior of the planet, I mean, there's a whole section on just being the savior of the planet. I was like, whoa, dude.
Yep.
He used to be neutral. You remember when he was neutral?
He was always
yeah.
neutral.
I'll give it to flat. I'll give it to the globe. He was not neutral at all. It went
Globe.
like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was typing away. I was talking modern day debate. I think the modern day debate guys are pretty cool. But I was like,
I think
over and
Ryan
over-
did a good job. I think
I think he
he's
did.
trying. He's trying hard.
He did a really good job. But dude, I mean, like, it's funny to be in the chat while you're doing your thing online, and I'm watching like the layers of context going down the chat, and I'm like, somebody says like, "Oh, Will smashed him," and I'm like, Will didn't say anything. That's when I realized the breadth of intelligence between some of these people that are operating in the chat versus what's actually going on in real life. And I'm like, holy crap, there's an ocean of ignorance between, understanding the scientific method and just repeating shit that you heard online, whether you got some sort of like social presence online. Oh, I'm pro Will Duffy or whatever. I'm like, dude, I can see it from a fucking mile away. Sorry, pardon my French. But it's just kind of one of those things, man. I was just like, you can ask Nicole. I was like, I was ready to throw shit out.
But I mean, did I not make it clear? It's just not science, and it's a false dichotomy, so it doesn't prove anything.
Yeah.
And that's when he lost already. He had nothing. That's why he's like, oh shit, now I got nothing. So let me roll the insult and bring up 11 frames thinking it's going to help him. At the end of the day, he conceded. Taking the inferior mirage out means I took Earth curve away.
Of course. I was streaming it live, Lowry, and I was just trying to stay quiet so everybody can hear the debate, but there was a few bits I had to chime in.
But now I'm waiting for him to send that video because he's definitely going to show it. And like I said, if it shows to be unedited, I'll say, yeah, 24-hour sun. Again, does that disprove a flat Earth? No.
I don't think they understand what the scientific method is. I think there's a vast difference between understanding the scientific method and scientism. And you laid it out exactly the way I would have done it. I would have just said, this is what it reads as I understand observing our world. Looking at it, observing, independent variable, all that stuff. You laid it out. He didn't accept that. He also didn't answer a lot of questions that you asked. You answered every single question.
He practically didn't answer any.
Yeah.
And this stood out to me as well when he said, yes, the Bible can be falsified. I was like,
yeah, that did jump at me too.
So God's unfalsifiable word can be falsified.
It's weird, right? It's weird to me. It's weird to me. Like there's so many red flags in my hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I'm like, okay, well, we don't understand where you're coming from, dude. You got a lot of money to spend on a lot of people to send him, out there to do the thing. But you like, I don't. His personal position seems flawed to me. It seems a bit flawed. It's like, I thought you were neutral. And I copied and pasted the question 20 times in the chat. I was like, will you please ask? Will you please ask? Will you please ask? They didn't ask, of course, but I was like, I want to know why he's not neutral anymore. Why is he not in the middle? It seems like he's favored in a certain direction. And he's also showing it in his facial motions. He's showing that he's in a position that he needs to prove this thing.
But that's why I brought it up. It's a personal thing for him. And
that's not scientific.
I was watching his face while I was playing that, and I could see that little grin on his face because he knows. That's why I called him a bigot. Because his whole thing about this is, you're a flat earther, so I have to do something about it. That's why I also asked him, so do you have an issue with Bigfoot and aliens? He says he does, but he doesn't attack them.
Yeah. What's the difference? It's like, it's still a crazy topic to him. So why don't you go after Bigfooters? Why don't you go after, anything else you can come up with in the alternative scene, right? And so I'm like sitting there, and I literally just focus on his face, and I watch it, and I saw tons of Duper's delight, and because I've been burned so many times in 10 years in flat Earth, you can just watch him, and it's like, dude, you're giving away so much. And that interview, honestly, Flatzoid, you could spend the next year just dissecting that 5 minutes a piece.
But that's why I did
over and over again.
But that's why I did this in a very particular manner, because this can go everywhere, and everybody's going to show this whole thing is just nothing but a guy that's desperate against flat Earth. It's nothing more than that.
That's what I felt from the beginning. It was just like he is got an emotional attachment, or he's paid, whatever he is. I've never felt good about him. Elizabeth is still like, I'm giving Elizabeth the benefit of the doubt, but she's attached to him. So I'm like, I gave her a bunch of shit on Strange World the other night. But I was like, look, I want to at least drill her and find out if she's on what side or not. But like, she's attached to him, so like, I'm literally just nothing smells good about this guy. Nothing.
Well, think about his dad, Bob Inyer. This guy, he modeled his
But
thesis after him.
but that's why I asked him about the firmament. I had to ask him, and he doesn't even know what the word rakia means.
Yeah, and I've done like 10 episodes with you, going through every single version of what rakia would actually mean, right? You know, I've studied the firmament 9 ways to Sunday, you know, and it's just like, this is kind of what it is. And he says it isn't. And he says because his dad, pastor, or is the guy he looks up to,
It's because Bob
says
Inyer
it's something else.
said
He wrote,
so, yeah.
he wrote a different aside to what it is, and it could be the crust. I mean, that's just a guy writing a thing, right? So what do you trust? Do you go back to the oldest thing that says, well, this is what it describes, or some guy that's just one generation above you that says, you know, it could be what you're walking around on too, and then he writes a thesis, and then suddenly that's what it is. I'm sorry, I just can't buy it. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that was a rant, dude.
No, it's just.
Right, man.
I'm just glad I got through to it.
Wesley's
I just glad because that's the only message I wanted to get through. Because I know the haters from the Globe side. It doesn't matter what you say. They're always, oh, you suck, blah blah blah. I just wanted to get it through to a large audience. By the way, there was 1,700 people watching at a stage. That's very big, even for MDD. Okay, and they all showed me making the argument that this whole final experiment is not scientific. And it's a false dichotomy, and all Will had was to attack my character.
Yeah.
That was it. That's all I needed to show. Nothing more.
And the other thing that you did that was fantastic is your answers were succinct. And like when you drag out question or you drag out answers, it means you're trying to cover up something. Your answers were bap, bap, bap.
Yeah.
You know, and that was it. And guess what? Over time, that will acknowledge over the course of the consciousness. They'll be like, he just answered it. He just did, and that's what he believes. And so then they have to go back in their mind and rethink how you answered it and come up with something that, you know, either a rebuttal or something else. But like, you didn't spend much time on like expanding your rebuttal. I love that. I love that in debate. It's like bop, 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 bop. And that's
answer
it.
and move on.
Yeah.
But that's why he
I
didn't
think
want to actually rebut me. He didn't want to give me anything because his whole focus was trying to make me make a claim. And when I do give an answer, he doesn't like the answer. So therefore his answer is, oh, you're not giving a claim. It's like, my claim is I don't believe there's a 24-hour sun. That's my only claim. There's nothing more to it. That's my claim. Why must I say what it's going to do if I say I don't think there's going to be a sun?
Yeah, the best thing that you did, and I liked really a lot, was like, how do we decide what is the default position? Well, it's what your eyes see. Do you look around? Do you feel like you're spinning? Do you look around? Does it look like there's a curve around? Sometimes you're kind of confused because you think you see a curve because maybe you were told you saw a curve, or your window makes a curve, or something else. But the fact of the matter remains is like there's no measurable curvature, and there's no proof of spinning, and that alone triggers every globie or anti-flat earther or whatever you want to talk about. Like, I think I'd be the first to say, dude, like, none of us wanted this debate to come up, but it did, and we answered, right? And I think you answered much more than I am. I'm a musician, man. I'm just like a cheerleader for you guys because like you guys know a lot more.
You're
shit
right,
than I do.
man.
You know, but it's like one of these things. It's like, dude, open your eyes and look around. The default position is you're not spinning. Do you feel like you're spinning? You're not spinning.
And I brought that up as well. And he didn't want to answer that. That's why I said, why are you not looking at the arguments? You're ignoring all the other evidence, but you want to take one evidence as a proof. That's why I said there's a difference between evidence and proof.
And proof, I mean, it's one evidence for. It doesn't mean you say that it disproves flat Earth, because it's also evidence for a flat Earth. I mean, you need to get a load of evidences so there's no doubt to make the proof. Yeah,
and right now we've got a pile over here for flat, and we have a possibility of one over here. No. And suddenly we're supposed to switch over. No. I mean, sorry, F you, man. Sorry, it's just not going to work. You know, it's like I'm still going to do the balances of justice, and the balances of flat Earth is kind of doing this.
I'm also happy that I'm also happy they're pushing out Dave Farina to debate me, because Dave Farina's been making excuses all the time that my channel's too small. So maybe
make it bigger.
Let's make it bigger. Make my channel bigger so I can debate him. Because that's what he's excuse.
I mean,
I'm
don't
guessing you don't have
spot
an
right.
email, right? Flats, do you have an email from him yet?
No,
No, I didn't think. Just checking. I want to
no,
see
no,
it.
no. We'll
I
see if I'm
really
going
do.
to get it because something didn't add up with what he said, though. He said the reason he had to edit it was because how hard is it to edit? I mean, film 24 hours. So he didn't film 24 hours then.
No.
First of all, that's a red flag.
Look at that.
Second of all, if he edited it, okay, why would he not just put up the 24 hours like he said? Why can't he just do it that way or put in sections?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice
That's
comment from KL. Yeah. He said, "Hey there to you, Flats. Hey there. I saw the debate and sub to your channel after saw you doing God's work. Keep it up, dude." Fair
Thank you
play.
very much. You rock.
nice.
Really
The information
appreciate you,
I'm asking
Kale.
about. Sorry.
I'm under the influence or under the I guess because when I came up through primary school, middle school, high school, whatever, they were still teaching. Relatively, they were teaching discernment a little bit. They were teaching the scientific method, and they were like, "This is how it works." And I remember the 5 steps, and that went through. I have a bachelor's degree in biology, not appealing to authority, guys. I went through the biology
How
program
dare
and I learned it. Dare you. But I went through it, and I walked away from it because I like music better. That was I was trying to be a doctor, and I was just like, I'm not.
There is
Isn't for
one
me.
faux pas I did make though. I missed when I asked for the kilometers to meters. Straight away I thought of Nathan, and then I gave the wrong answer. I was like, oh shit.
I would say,
And then I corrected
3,500. You said 3,500.
I
Wait,
said
what was that?
3,500, and then I said 350. I was like, oh,
Do you know
shit.
why you said it as well,
35,000.
Flats? It came from Andrew Johnson, and when you debated,
Yeah, but that's a say.
when you debated him before, you said the same answer. It was just a slip. So your mind came back. Your mind was saying.
But that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing. So yeah, now they're gonna clip that and say that, but it doesn't
Oh yeah,
matter. The argument
it doesn't matter. Here's the easiest way to do that in the future. It's like okay, hold on, let me get a calculator. You want to waste airtime? I'll just do the conversions. It's like a stupid question to ask anybody. It's like, well, you want me to get the calculator out? I'll convert it and we'll do that. It's a setup for another thing. Like his setup for like his video where he repeated you saying something over and over again. I was like, come on, dude, this is middle school shit. Tell me you got something better than a video that just hammers somebody saying over and over. It just doesn't make a fuck. Sorry, pardon my French, but I'm just saying that when we get to the matters of calculations, you can just say, all right, give me a second. Let me get my calculator out and work through it. And then you know what they're going to say? They're going to be like, well, we'll move on to the next. No. I want to do the calculation and like do this because they're doing it as a setup.
This is the issue they do. Because they love to do maths doesn't mean everybody else loves to do maths. I don't need to do all the maths they do. The math I do every day is based on ratios. Yeah. I don't need to work out meters in kilometers and feet in kilometers or whatever, going empirical to empirical. Sometimes if you put on the spot, you say the wrong things. That's fine. I don't mind. Even I've admitted I'm not a boffin at maths, okay? Yeah. But I can at least hold my own. What's up, Vlad?
What's up, Iron?
What's going on, Flats? What's going on, family? How you guys doing? Roger, PJ, Lowry, how's everybody?
I thought it was an excellent showing, and I thought like your succinctness and your answers were like that said everything, and like that's what I wanted. I was like, please, Flats, just answer succinctly, and don't even. And you did, and it was like everybody's like, meh, I can't come back on anything, meh.
Yeah. I was going to say, Sean, hi, what's up, man? KRC. Yes, I debated Will Duffy, and he didn't debate, though. I was the only one debating.
Yeah, he wasn't even participating. He was just
trying to attack my character.
Did you get a sense that he was being trained? He didn't speak like that 6 months ago. He had
That's right.
None of those data points.
I was thinking exactly the same. Yep. He was getting things from McToon. He was getting things from FTFE. He was getting things even from Peter Markley. I saw some things he got from Peter Markley there. I was like,
yeah,
Lord.
Of course.
You know what's funny? I
see you covered it live, Iron, a little bit.
Yeah, I did because I saw you did, and I was like, the more eyes, the better. And shout out guys for all that. But you want to know something? That's a really, really good observation, Larry, because I was like, I wonder if somebody's been training. But then I just like,
I've been watching him for 6 months. He did not speak that way 6 months ago. He's trained. Those are canned responses, man.
Of course.
But you know what's interesting? You know when I asked him, okay, so you want to disprove the flat earth using the sun, but you don't want to disprove the flat Earth by going to search for the dome.
Thank you.
That was a pretty
Thank
good one, dude. I mean, like
Yeah,
that was.
What does that tell you about his honesty?
That's not even one you
Like it started from the beginning. Like he was in opposition of himself, but because he is used to smiling and doing his thing. Like, I mean, if you talk to Weiss thinks he's a demon. I'm still
I
analyzing.
agree. Well, the thing is, tonight he didn't really show Christian light to me. And the fact he was trying to tell me I don't believe Jehovah's Witnesses are Christians because they believe in a globe is totally wrong. I've never ever claimed that. I always just claim globe doesn't make you not a Christian. You can believe in a donkey earth. It doesn't change you as a Christian.
You were using a
If you-
metaphor. You were
Yeah.
using a metaphor, and they tried to turn that back as the metaphor as something silly. They didn't get the joke. They didn't get the metaphor. I mean, that should tell you everything about what you're arguing against.
Yeah,
They
look
took
at
that
Sean's
literally,
message.
dude.
Look
They
at
did.
Sean's message. In my most recent interview with him, Duffy claimed he was not on either side, flat or globe. Guess he's officially and publicly chosen a side.
Yeah. And I asked that question 20 times in the chat.
Hey.
The mediator didn't do it, but that's fine. I think the mediator's cool. He's okay. But I was like, I want to know where Duffy suddenly chose a side because he wasn't that way to begin with, and we have video of it. Period.
He said he wanted the truth. He wanted the truth, and he's going to go, I got a side now. So he obviously knows there's a truth he's going to choose with right now.
Yeah,
So
hey, Dave. What's up, man?
Hey, happy birthday, man. Happy birthday.
brother.
Happy birthday. How does it feel to finally be 18?
Yeah.
It's fantastic, man. This is about my
Vicky's behind me. She says hi. So
yeah, I'm just not gonna have birthdays anymore. All right, I'm just
You gonna write those off?
all done with that dumb shit. Yeah. So Flats, you killed it, man. You killed it.
Yep.
I was watching him twitch and rock like a kid on a short bus on his way to the first day of school.
Yeah.
he wasn't debating. He wasn't debating at all. He was just trying to.
Like I said, I think his whole thing was.
Flats his name.
I think he was planning this for a long time because Will Duffy didn't really answer me and stuff. And then now, all of a sudden, before they have to go, he decided to contact me and say, "Can we have this discussion?" He just said it's a discussion, okay? And now we've had it. And what his claim was, no, I was supposed to make a prediction. There was nothing about a prediction. It was about a discussion. This presentation I made a half an hour before my stream about Bob the Science Guy, by the way, because I didn't even know it was a debate. They just said discussion.
Right.
I
And
got an
could
email
you
that said,
could you
Yeah?
tell who he was coached by? Could you
Me
tell
too.
who he was?
Stop.
Yeah, it was so obvious.
it's crazy because it's one of those things where it's like, all right, well, since you're a pastor, Pastor Duffy, let's talk about this firmament that doesn't exist. How about that? Let's talk about that.
That's
That
my
crust
whole
of the
point.
earth firmament. Yeah. So I'm glad that you kind of brought the attention and the light to it because he didn't want to talk about that. And I'm like, well, why not? If you're going to do something, and see, this is what's good is that you can come back and you can recall you can go back and we could watch it over again, right? And we could discuss that question in particular and just have the whole night and just talk about that.
But I mean,
I'm telling you that this interview, you've got a year's worth of dissecting on it because there were so many fallacies. There were so many things that went wrong for Will Duffy. I mean, literally, when he started describing himself as Jesus or the savior of the world,
I know.
everything
Oh my God, I know.
fell apart for them.
like,
He doesn't know it either. He doesn't know what happened when he started saying that. He said,
I
"I'm
said
going
the
to
same
save the
thing in
world."
my chat.
I was biting my tongue when he said that.
I know.
You did good, man.
In my chat.
I saw him say that. I saw him say that dumb shit, and I'll tell you what, man. I just busted out laughing. I said, "Oh my God, Will Duffy's going to come and save the world from flat Earth. Look at this guy."
But I did
I know.
when I asked him, I'd love to debate him on biblical cosmology, and I said it many
Couldn't believe
times.
that. Could not.
He,
believe it.
he didn't really respond to it because I don't think he can debate biblical stuff.
He can't. For being a pastor too, right? That's a pretty steep challenge. But for a pastor, that's something that should be manageable, right? He doesn't want to go there. He doesn't want to go there.
I never even went to church. I've studied the Bible. I know more about the Bible than he does.
And I
I'm
found
like,
it hard.
what the hell are you doing? What? You
When he
just
said
said
Proverbs,
that.
but when he said Proverbs, I thought, yeah, he's bringing up scripture. No, just the normal Proverbs.
He,
It's like,
when
is
he
that what
said
you bring
that
up
to you,
in
he says,
Walter?
well, have you ever seen the firmament? I would have said, absolutely, I have. Absolutely, I have seen it. We have all seen it. Well, where is it? Look up. There it is.
Oh, there it
Now,
is.
you want to know,
That's a
Mr.
good
Preacher
one.
Man, what's the Bible say about it? Huh? What's it say about it? What's it say in Psalms 19:1? Why is that on Werner von Braun's gravestone? What is
But
that?
he said God's word changes. He said God's word changes. I was like,
Changes. Okay.
Oh God.
That's a strange one.
It's a
Never
scripture that he
changing.
says it does.
Same
sounded
today,
like some,
tomorrow, and the next day.
That sounded like some shit to me right there.
so
Talking
this
about
tells me
God's nose.
McToon. So I just got to say that to McToon, since you need to actually get people to train to debate me because you're too scared to do it on your own. What does that tell you about you?
So God's
Because there's
fickle,
one thing McToon will never debate me on, and that's biblical cosmology.
of course.
Never.
So God's so fickle, he can't make his mind up.
Yeah, make his mind. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, what was his story? His story was like he had his preacher guy that he was like made him into a preacher, and he wrote
Bob
this
Enyard,
story.
right?
It was a Bob Enyard,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
so he writes an article, and he says he makes a new interpretation of a certain part of the Bible, and it's like, okay, so I can appreciate you living into that, but like that doesn't make 1,000 years or 2,000 years before that indifferent, dude. It's like that's why I believe this way, and then I'm just like, okay. Well, I mean, I studied science. I know the scientific method. He clearly had no idea what the scientific method was. He had no idea what it was. I mean, it's written in, at least when I went to high school, it's written out. There's 5 or 6 steps. You have to go through all of them. All of them.
Yeah, and
No
could I
idea
make
what the fuck that is. Sorry.
And could I make it even more rudimentary to explain it to him step by step as I did? I only went to observation and hypothesis. I didn't even get to experiment.
Yeah. Never.
Oh my God.
And you don't get to it. You don't get to it with these Glovers. They just don't. I don't think they were taught the scientific method. They were taught scientism. They were taught trust the guy in the white lab coat. That's over here saying blah, 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 blah. They don't understand what that thing is. It's like you look at the world.
Lowry. It's conditioning, man. It's conditioning. And they beat these little saints into your head. Oh, Newton and Cavendish. And when you start looking into these guys, man, you find out that they were these crackpot nut jobs, man.
Yeah.
Eating lead and mercury and all kinds of shit. I mean, come on. I'm supposed to take this guy hanging lead balls in a shed and looking at him from his house with binoculars? Serious?
Yep.
Yeah.
They explain all this in Timothy 6:20, 1 Timothy 6:20.
Yep. Said about shit that tickles their ears.
I just want to say, PJ, it was good to see so much people on your stream, man.
Yeah, there was about 42. I've never seen so many.
Yeah.
I've had 40 before, but never 42. So
PJ,
good.
And he hit over 400 subs, guys. So congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
That was quick.
Did you simulcast the Flatzoid thing? Is that what it was? Or was
Sorry?
it?
Yeah, I streamed
gotcha.
it live so people could come chill in my chat because not a lot of people like going to modern day debate because the trolls and that.
Oh, dude, I was in a battle. I was in a battle in the main chat. I was like,
Listen, y'all, real quick before I forget. I was given one of the best pieces of globe evidence that I've ever seen in my life. Okay.
Cool.
I'm holding my breath, Top. Hold my breath.
Guy sent me a picture of Antarctica, basically a drawing, showing all the different railway stations and rail lines that run through Antarctica.
Wow.
Oh.
Amazing.
So that
Railway
makes a
lines.
globe.
Yeah, that's what I told you. I immediately sent it to Darren. I said, dude, once you get there, you can pick up this station right here and ride a train and follow the sun around if you need to.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, that's the whole thing. This is why I'm planning on doing a little documentary on the Soviet Union and how they traversed, how they placed their bases and stuff in Antarctica with their RV vehicles. It shows a flat Earth.
Right.
It literally shows it where they stationed and how they traveled shows it's flat. So I'm really planning on doing that.
So Roger, okay,
Yes,
don't cancel or stop your funding. In fact, do a push on it. Don't go this year. Okay.
Okay.
This is what I found suspicious about this whole thing so far, is that it was particularly this year that this was important and it had to take place. Even the guy from Brazil, when they said, no, we'll do it now this year. And he says, no, next year. He was insistent upon that. Now, I just wonder if there isn't some kind of a cycle that comes about every so many years to where it does give some kind of an anomaly like that. Now, if that is the case, what I would suggest is go ahead and fund your trip, Roger, and go next year and see if it repeats, if you see the same thing. Because after all, the scientific method involves repeatable testing. Repeatable testing. You don't just do something once and go, oh, that proves it.
It is.
Yeah, okay. That's true. But didn't you guys realize when I asked, when he says, oh, how do we know about the eclipse? It's like cycles.
It's cycles. It's patterns.
It's literally a pattern, and the guy said, but it's in a different location. So it's still a cycle. It still follows the pattern.
Yeah, they have the Farmer's Almanac also that'll give you these things like way back. I think from they've had the Farmer's Almanac, I think from like the 1700s and stuff. So these things are very, very, very well documented, and they know. I'm sure there's like a rhyme or reason, and I think there are people out there that understand how to put them together. I don't, right? But I mean, these are patterns.
Yeah, but his only rebuttal to that was just trust me, bro, because I say so, therefore it is.
Oh, dude, what about the time when he was like, you want proof of gas in a contained environment, and he throws up those two globes? I'm just like, I was laughing. I fell on the floor laughing. I was like, what?
I know.
That's what you got?
They're exactly the same with a few slight differences.
But I love it's like, oh, you don't know anything about NASA. How much photos did it take?
Hey, come on.
Hundreds. I just thought you said I said nothing. I know nothing.
Did you notice how he said you can't model something that doesn't exist? He took that from our channel. I was like, hey, do you know something? I was like, I've been saying this over and over again. I was like, we don't say, well, NASA never says it curves, assuming a curved rotating Earth. They never say that because it doesn't exist. They can't say that. They can't possibly say that and try to hold something up and have it contain water. So they're going to say assuming a curved or
well, he did say the globe has a model. Has anybody been presented this model?
Yes, and it's bull. Yes, they have been, and it's wrong.
That's why I asked you to pick up that globe model ball, and I was okay. Show me gravity, please.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. I get you.
Because they don't understand you have multiple models to explain different things. Flat Earth's the same. Everything is the same. You don't have a model. There's no such thing as a model.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. And the thing I found funny was he said there was a dome around the globe. I want to see how that works, man. I want to see the dome around the globe.
It somehow connects with the crust of the Earth, I'm sure.
Oh, good God. That's crap.
Well, Jesus is coming down from the clouds in the crust of the Earth, so.
Yeah, I know, right?
Dude, there's a lot of crust flakes.
When you tell them though, and I've had them ask me this before, it says, well, have you ever seen the dome? I said, of course. I said, I'm not really sure it's a dome. I would think that maybe that's probably the best strength shape to use for such a thing. But no, we see it all the time. Well, where is it? I said, you just look up.
Well,
there it is right there. It describes that the firmament is the sky.
But I don't know if you guys find this also very idiotic. The reason he's doing this is to feed people so they can know how to. What does that got to do with people feeding? And then goes on to say flat earthers are poor because they're flat earthers. It's like.
I know. He said, that's, and you want to know something? I said, yo, everybody's broke, dude. Have you taken a look outside? Nobody's got money. And if you do, God bless you. Great, you do.
I'm sorry.
Everybody's having a hard time.
I was poor as a glober.
Yeah.
I'm a bit better off now than I was because I work hard. My wife works. I can show globers that are dirt poor. Sean Hawkins.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So it's funny because you had these guys in the chat that were getting on me because I was like, hey man, how come you're not posting my question? Then they were like, you're probably one of those broke flirts. And then I was like, no, I paid my money so he can display my question. Then I said, you want to know something? So then the logic would fit that everybody in the globe is rich and all flat earthers are poor. That's what it
Exactly.
is. Then that's what
Well,
it is.
I told Sean Hawkins in chat that now he could be rich. He's a Glober, you know. He could make it. I literally. Go collect, man. You're a Glober. Now you can be rich.
He did so many stupid, bigoted things. I just.
Yeah,
It was bad.
It was. But you know what? He got his skills up to go out and sound like I'm not even going to say his name. Not even going to give him the power. But he gets his skills up. But my thing is this, like we're so beyond it. We're so beyond having it. I give you props for going out there and explaining the flat earth to everyone, flats. But we've gotten to the point to where it's all right, it's flat. If they're going to do something, let's go figure out this firmament. But then we need to pay some attention to the north. What's happening to the north, right?
I agree.
Yeah, let's figure out that. Let's figure these things out.
I think a key thing is that a lot of people have to understand. We all know it's not a globe. We know it's flat, but we all don't have the same beliefs based on the flat Earth.
Right.
Because we know it's flat, but how it's flat is a different story. That still comes to belief. Like I believe it's based on the Hebrew cosmology. You get someone else that believes it's electric universe. You get someone else that believes it's a torus field. We all understand it's not a globe. That's one thing we do know. But how the flat Earth is, and saying, "Oh, you're all just stupid. You all just don't have," that's just idiotic.
Yeah, and that's honestly where you find the adults versus the children. I mean, honestly, I think where the rubber meets the road is you can't reconcile what's happening, what you're walking around on versus sky phenomenon. It's just what it is. That's where the rubber meets the road. Right. And they're trying to turn where the rubber meets the road, and they're trying to invert it and saying sky meets ground. Sky means ground. Sky means what we're doing. And frankly, like all the evidence, and again, listen, I can speak freely on this shit, and I don't care about cussing about it, is that I've been 10 years into this, and every observation shows flat. Okay. So you see a circling sun. Okay, fine. All right. I'm willing to fucking bite my teeth into it and go for it. Let's see what that means. What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. It means that there's something we don't understand about the sky.
Yeah.
That's what I was explaining to him. And that's what I explained to him. And I said, okay, I don't believe there's a 24-hour sun, but if there is, I will correct myself and say there's a 24-hour sun. But that doesn't make it not flat. It just means it's new information for the flat Earth.
Thank you. And you want to know something? It's like, listen, and this is where you win automatically. It's like, listen, because I was the same way. I said, hey, I believe that we're not going to see a 24-hour sun, but based off of other evidences, the sun calculated this one, observations south of Australia. Hey, there's a possibility that you'll see a 24-hour sun, but then you see the direction in which the sun is traveling. So even on my channel, like months ago, I said, it looks like this could be reflections off the firmament. I said this on Nachiketa's channel, and then people, Q and Fee and all that started calling me an idiot and everything else. I said, listen, I don't know. Nobody in here has been to Antarctica, so nobody knows. I said, this is a possibility, but I didn't want to embed those kinds of possibilities into people's minds to say, oh, this is a fact that it's a reflection off of the firmament. Now that there are smart people that have done certain experiments, right? Because that's where we make our money, which we're not. I'm not saying that we're making money.
When he said to you, when he says, "Oh, I'm trying to save these people because they end up being broke and all this other, and all flat earthers are broke," he brought that shit up. I was in PJ's chat. I says, "Well, every serial killer was a globe believer." So, we're trying to save the world from serial killers.
Yep.
Think of all the Karens that are all globe believers. Think of all the people that have committed fraud are globe believers. Think of all the people
like Duffy. Those that have committed fraud. I mean, this guy's got how many tens of thousands of dollars of penalties against him still pending?
Not to mention the PDF files.
Yeah. They might be right about the cycle in Antarctica. You may be right about the sun cycle just coming around.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It was so specifically important that this year everybody go. William Shatner, Mark Kelly, Candace Owens' best friend's cousin, sister-in-law, whoever the fuck, they got to get everybody down there this year.
That's right.
And that's what we're saying from the beginning of the show. And everybody's announcing this year is very important. They don't want to go last year. They don't want to go next year. It has to be this year.
It has to be this year. So, here's the thing. It's like we got in front of it enough, and I think we really did, is we got on top of it and said all the things, and we have a bunch of video evidence saying, no, it's not a final experiment. It's a final observation. We said it enough to where they want to try the headline thing and do the hit pieces late December, early January, where you'd be like, ha, ha, fuck you. Because no, we actually looked at it way back then. And, and it's like they don't have any ground to gain. This is their big play. This is what they want to do.
Yeah.
They want to use their headlines and say,
you want to call it an experiment?
But I love.
Oh my God! I so wanted you to do this. I so wanted you to do this because I'd love to tell him. You want to call it an experiment? An experiment requires repetition, repeatable experimentation to prove something, right? So this means that this isn't final. You'll have to go about 10 times, 10 years in a row with consistent freaking results every time if you want to have it be an experiment.
Yep. Hey, you want to know something? Janusz, what's going on? Mr. Kowalski, how you doing, brother?
It's you, man.
You want to know something? I had a guy named Kapitan Rustur. I like saying it like that. But he's a Serbian guy, right? He came onto my channel last week, and at the 128 mark, he starts to describe something that absolutely blew my mind. I hadn't heard this theory from anybody. But his theory is there's a possibility that these guys went to the North Pole during the summer.
Already. Yeah. The thing is, we've been seeing that where because there was a stage where they all just were on holiday or gone or for that same time.
Yes, that's what he said. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and that's when at the same time. So it's plausible that they've already gone and this is why I brought up. I don't know if you guys realized. I was hoping we were going to get to that when I was telling him, or maybe they got different South Poles placed in the ice at different locations with different buildings.
Yep.
And I was hoping we would get into that, but I didn't get there.
Yeah. And like it's crazy because when he said that, all I could think was, and then he did a time hack for him. And so they left from the 12th, I think, up to the 18th or so of, I think it was June. Was it June or July? One of those months. I think it was June. But that's the month that you have the summer solstice. So now during the winter solstice, they're supposed to be leaving around the 12th, correct? Up until around the 18th, correct? So it's like those time periods are like a complete polar opposite of one another, and I'm like, holy!
I was thinking we should find out who all is actually going to this thing, okay? Because there should be other people that's not affiliated with them that's going with. If we can contact one of them and ask them, are they actually going with them, or are they doing? Because then we have someone else that's not part of this thing to say, yeah, there's none of these people on my list.
That'd be a good idea. Did you see the little documentary that Eddie Banjo made about the second? What is it called? I'll pull it up. It's.
But if we can somehow get hold of someone that's going with them that's not affiliated with them, they'll be able to tell us if they are actually going or not.
If they see them.
Yeah. The thing is that it's called Duffy's Pinocchio keeps getting longer.
Yes.
But the thing that was irritating me, he keeps changing the story just ever so slightly. And if you think about visas and things, which they need a visa to go, okay? How do you get a visa so quickly if you're only paying so quickly? This if you go somewhere, you usually have to at least be a month or 2 months in advance paid up. These guys are literally only paying on the last minute.
Funny
in order to get a passport for 6 months.
Funny what you can do with the State Department, right?
Yeah. Hey, Sean, what's up, man?
Yep.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah, bro.
Because here's another thing, man. Sean, what's happening? Here's another thing, man. It's not like people get to go to Antarctica at any time. So they've got a whole film crew. They've got this one, they've got that one. So it's not like Duffy's just paying for just these guys to go on this trip.
But that's another thing. He's claiming there's no film crew, but you're going to see the quality of the film, which is going to show you it's a film crew, which
There's
already
no way.
shows he's lying.
You're already
It's a
going to
lie.
be able to, you can already watch their body cam footage, I guess, live. We're supposed to be able to have that streaming and shit too.
Yes.
Look, I'm going to say it just like I have in the beginning. Nobody drops 6 digits on shit and not expects a return with profit. That's
Thank
all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Thank
really bizarre to me, Sov. That's the biggest one to me is like who has that kind of money to throw at it? And I go through that question every day in my mind. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, $130,000, $140,000.
Rich Globers.
I could live on that for 3 years. Somebody's throwing that at something for people to go out to a bunch of ice and prove something that doesn't even matter in the scientific method. It makes no freaking sense to me, right? And so, like, I had a rampage. Now, I don't know that Lisbeth is good or bad. I don't know. I grilled her the other night, but like, I want to know what this connection is and why it's so important and who funded it. Like, Nicole did a whole rabbit hole the other night, and
I want to know why we weren't invited to
their meetup in Manhattan. It's a little more, kind of a sassy thing for us because it's 20 minutes from us. We can go meet them, and I understand they're real people, and they didn't do that, so we blew up on them in chat on Strange World the other night. But that being said, like, I really just want to know, nobody throws that kind of money at it unless there's a profit. They just don't. They're a capitalistic person that has $150,000, $200,000, whatever it is they're spending on this, unless there's some sort of kickback. I just don't believe that there's somebody that is so pure of soul that will sort this out. And then I watch Will Duffy, who was normally neutral. He went far globe.
He went total globe-tard.
I'm like, well, what am I supposed to make of that? What am I supposed to make of that? And I've even talked to Jared on this. I'm like, dude, what do you think about this dude? And he says, no, he's legit. He's okay, Jared. Okay, like I've spent 10 years in the gutters with Jared. I love Jared. What is going on with this shit? And there's another guy. He also doesn't. He if you believe in the scriptures, like I don't even go to church. I've never been religious. I read the Bible just to understand it. He doesn't get the Bible. I'm like, you're preaching to people and you don't even understand Genesis. It makes me uneven. Let's just put it that way. Sorry, that was a rant.
I just have to say, Sunflower is correct. You don't require a visa. I checked it up. But you do require visas in the other countries. They're going to Argentina. They require a visa to go to Argentina. And that takes time.
So
Sean looks like he really wants to talk.
Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, Keith, during your debate, just real quick on the topic that he just brought up about how can they just quickly add someone to the trip. Someone in my live chat asked Duffy that on my last interview with him, and he did a very good job of kind of weaving away from the question. And he said, well, it's already taken care of through the ALE. And so ALE has these spots, and they can just put people, because they have still spots on the plane, and they still have tent availability on this trip, so they can just add you to the trip, no problem. And because they've already got all the certifications to go down there.
That's weird.
So, isn't that amazing, right? Because the average person has to go through the long, rigorous process for each person to sign off that they know all the rules and that they've been approved and that their mission has been stated. But ALE as a corporate structure can just have anyone join the trip without any vetting or any verification.
But don't they go through a medical and everything as well?
Who, the participants that are going with ALE or ALE?
ALE.
I haven't heard.
The people that go to and on, don't they have to go through a medical?
You mean as far as the requirements for the treaty?
Yeah.
So, I don't remember that part.
How about vaccines and stuff like that? I'm pretty sure they want to jab them too before you cross.
From my perspective, they will not provide any evidence for anything important. They will provide evidence maybe for some minuscule things, but there will be some kind of failed experiment. Oh, sorry, we failed. And that will convince that the majority of people who will be watching this, that the Earth is a globe. That's what they do. And I suspect psychological operation.
Okay, I see you don't need to go through a medical, but you need to take out life insurance.
Whoa.
That's something Jaron spoke about. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, so one of the things that got brought up was basically like how why would, like, one of the things I asked him, which is because he was talking about other people can go if there's open spots, and at this point, this was 3.5, 4 months ago, Duffy said he was not going to go. And I guess he's changed his mind since then. He also said he was not on either side of this issue, that if it's going to be, if there's evidence that it's a AE model or a flat earth model from the sun's positioning, then he'll announce himself a firmamentalist, or excuse me, a flat earther on his channel. And I call myself a firmamentalist. Sorry. So but basically, I guess he's completely changed course. And I just watched a few minutes as you guys just went live. I watched a few minutes of the debate. And at the 34-minute mark, Keith, you ask him about the firmament, and he's playing dumb as if he doesn't know what it is. And then once he responds, he says, "Oh, you mean the historical thing that the Bible talked about in history?" Now, on my channel, I actually put in his face on my interview with him Amos 9:6. It talks about the dome over the earth, and asked him about the translations, and he just stared at it and act like he didn't know what he couldn't read. So this type of behavior, because I asked him the same thing. I said, "What, you're a pastor. What are you doing teaching something that's in direct contrast to the plain words in Scripture?" And he said, "Well, if this trip changes my mind, then I'll preach the firmament in the Bible, and I'll change my tune." And I said, "Okay, but what's stopping you from?" He goes, "I just need to see verifiable proof." I said,
"But he won't change his Mick tune." See what I did there?
Yeah, I seriously
like that, huh?
Well, McToon is simply.
I see what you did, Bland. That was hot.
Remember, guys, money is a big incentive. So
isn't that weird?
McToon is simply the Romans 15. It's bad company corrupts good character. So if I give Duffy the benefit of the doubt that he has some sort of character because he's a pastor, he's hanging out with a guy who is the opposite of what a Christian should be, sound like, and interact with as people.
It's curious, right, Sean? It's curious. It's curious to me, and I'm like, again, in the nature of being, I consider myself Christian adjacent. I didn't come up in church. I'm just learning the Bible in the last 10 years, and I'm like, I know the Bible better than a preacher. That's weird to me. It's really bizarre. Because I'm like, no, that's not what that, no. Like I went down all the rabbit holes of every single, what the rakia means. Like that's what I probably spent the most time on, is what the firmament means. And I went all the way down, and he doesn't understand it, and he's preaching to his flock. And I'm not of the church nature at all. And like, how do I know more than this dude does? Those are red flags to me. I hope that, as being, I guess Christian adjacent, that he is a good person, but I don't buy it, man. I'm right now. I don't buy it. I want him to be better. I want whatever this thing to be better. I hope it is better. I just don't buy it right now.
I think during that interview with Sav and Butters and everything, like a lot of that became apparent. And like I sat there and those guys were grilling him, and I just sat there and I let those guys have them. And I'm just like sitting there like, how are you a pastor? I'm not saying that I'm the smartest guy around. I'm not at all. But he was just exposing himself with his and I'm not saying that you have to be the smartest guy as far as the Bible is concerned, but at least you have a good working knowledge as to how and what says what and where. Like
I think there's a beanie in there someplace myself. I'm serious.
We are just allergic to deception. That's what it is.
I'm seeing all the characteristics, man. That little cheesy rat face grin, the little beady eyes, the whole thing, man. He's just like, dude, go on with yourself. What are you talking about? I'm going to save the world because otherwise, if you think the Earth's flat, you're going to be a broke ass guy and everybody will hate you and all this shit. It's like, please,
okay, let's go there. Let's go there right now, because that's a really important topic. But one of the biggest things that made me fucking go off the walls in the whole thing was he was saving the world by doing the final experiment. When he said that, firstly, I was like, whoa, dude. Okay, that's a lot. And he just kept saying, we're going to save everybody by showing this thing. So I'm like, okay, Mr. Jesus Christ, you're saving all of us by going to do one observation on a piece of ice out here. Okay. You have actually cornered yourself. And that's why I think that interview that you did, Flats, is going to be analyzed for, if not a year, 5 years from now, because it's going to take an hour to do 5 minutes of that interview because there's so many fallacies, there's so many lies, there's so many like facial cues that I'm sitting there looking at this guy. I'm like, oh my God, what am I looking at?
Dude, I would love to play poker. I would love to play poker with this dude. I was calling him out so
He would
quick.
lose his ass. He loses.
So
he loses
just
that.
recently, I messaged him because I live like 2 or 3 hours away from him, depending on traffic. And I said, "Hey, man, I'm willing to come down to Denver and have lunch with you, and do like a third interview before this trip goes. I have a couple of questions. I'd like to just sit and chat with you for lunch, and then later we can turn the camera on and do a third interview. Are you interested?" He said, "I am, but I don't have time right now. So sorry." I didn't realize he was prepping for a debate.
Yeah, but that's the thing, Sean. He actually contacted me,
See, that's wild.
and
wild.
all he said was, "Are you willing to have a discussion with me on MDD about the final experiment?" I said, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I love that because I've wanted to show everyone it's just a false dichotomy, and it's not an experiment. So that's was my only agenda for this, was to show it's just a waste of money. It's nothing other than he is trying to, how can I put it, show his bigotness against the flat earth. But anyway, then he comes on here and starts lying about the email, saying I'm supposed to make predictions. That's what it's supposed to be about. So that alone shows the guy's just got nothing other than lying.
Yeah,
The bird was never on
we
you.
don't have to make any predictions. Like, why do we have to do anything? We don't have to. And here's the thing, like, there's so many things that he said that nobody jumped on him for. Like, he said pilots don't do something, and I was like, wait a minute, but they fly. He's like, and when they land, their nose isn't such and such. And I was like, wait.
It's called flare. It's called flare.
When they fly, yeah. I'm like, when they fly, their nose is automatically a few degrees up. Every pilot will tell you that.
But I was laughing when he said, "Oh, look, it's landing with the nose." I'm like, that's not what the pitch data is about.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that was bad.
Notice with the pitch data, it does show that. When you take off and when you land, that's when it does show pitch data changes.
So I was explaining to Brenda here on my channel previously while your show was going, while the debate was going on. I was mentioning how on the plane that I flew on, there's a device that shows you the pitch angle of the airplane. Of course, I forgot what the word was, like pitch, yaw, and all that stuff, right? She was like, "Oh, so you mean pitch?" I was like, "Yeah, with your fake ass voice." You know what I'm saying? That, sure, whatever. But the thing is you can see it on the airplane. Everybody that's within the cabin of the plane can see it. And so I'm looking at it. I was like, that's weird. So as a new air crewman, I'm not used to, when I was a new air crewman, this was back in 2010, 2011. I'm like, hey, I spoke to one of the pilots. I'm like, so do you guys fly at an angle going upwards, but you're not going up? And then they explain the back of the plane, how that works. They're like, yeah, we have the back position like this. We have the front position like this. And the nose is pointed like a few degrees up, like 2 or 3. I forget what it is, right? And I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. That's pretty cool. And then I asked them, I was like, so you fly like that the whole time? They were like, we fly like that the whole
Yes, my dad was a pilot. He used
That's
to
why the
fly-
wings
he
are
used to
shaped
fly-
the way they are.
Yeah,
It's
my
like
dad used to
the
fly
way
out
it's
of
principle
Kansas.
takes effect.
He used to fly out of Kansas into Denver, and their worry wasn't whether or not they were going to fly off, out in space. Their worry was they didn't want to hit the ground. And yes, they do write about it like just about like this because it's just efficient for the airfoil.
Right.
And they were really just like their vision was just like, let's make sure we don't fly into the ground because it's really hard to look out of an airplane windshield. You're looking at ground. It becomes a blend. It becomes
That's
a
why
blend
they
of
say
ground.
read your instruments.
Yeah.
Follow.
And so, but they're ultimately relying on their horizon, which is something that's fixed in space. And like, if anyone spent even remotely 5 minutes with a gyroscope, you would understand. And like the girl from Amsterdam, she said it so plainly. She lost her flight job. She had to fucking fly a desk.
Yes, the Dutch woman.
She was like, look, there's brown and there's blue. And that thing is fixed, and it's based on what their landing data was when they took off, right? That thing should be flipped when you fly from Amsterdam to Australia. Never happened, right?
But then he said, there are no pilots that say that the Earth is flat. And I said, Lord,
There's
have
tons of
mercy.
them. We've got
I said,
we've got
Thousands
at
of
least
them.
20 of them on
We never
record.
seen
Not
her.
even
said,
counting
why
like
you
the people that
lying?
won't talk about it.
I
There's
said,
plenty of
why
people.
the hell you lying?
Ironworks.
Why you
This
lying?
is
Why you lying? I know that's exactly what it is. They're just lying.
Aaron, this is what when I asked him about well, he made a statement like that saying, well, it's kind of a fringe topic, and he said, I don't know why there's so much, I didn't understand when I first heard before we went to the Dino debate. He said he didn't understand why people were talking about this because it was kind of a fringe topic, and I said the Dino debate was in 2023. It was not a fringe topic. They had to go before Congress in 2018 to get to admittedly change their algorithms because it wasn't a fringe topic, because the whole world was researching that second only to Donald Trump. He had no clue about any of that information. He doesn't know anything about this topic. This is why when I asked him at the end of my interview, I said, bro, what are you actually doing this for? Because you have showed me tonight, you don't even know the heliocentric model. You don't know the arguments for flat Earth. You don't know the cultural impact this has had in the last 10 years. What are you doing? Why are you involved in this? And
But he does
claims,
project
what
that onto us, though. He does claim we the ones that don't know when he clearly doesn't know anything. Roger, you got a lot of background noise, man.
Do it. That's interesting.
Roger always got some crazy. Roger be frying chicken,
I would like
and
to hear the answer.
he just got the he got the.
What was his answer when you asked him why he's doing
and
that?
everything.
Is that better, guys?
He said he just wanted to make sure that we find the answer one way or another, because this could be, the end all be all. And I'm sitting there going, brother, it's not. Look, because you believe, and I'm not going to preach. I need to cite these scriptures just real quick, just for the point. But I said, look, man, you claim to be a pastor. You believe in things you can't prove, test, or verify. That's the point of your faith. In fact, specifically, you believe in the resurrection of Christ. As 1 Corinthians 15 says, if we don't have the resurrection of Christ, we have no faith. Like, we're all in vain. We're all laughing at ourselves. It's all pointless. So, and he goes, well, they had testimony of that. I said, bro, look, testimony, not only is it actual truth and it's verifiable in court, as you all know, but your whole faith is based on the testimony of the prophets and the apostles and what eyewitnesses saw. I said, there's prophets of God, the same prophets of God that are considered scripture by the apostles, the same apostles who handed you the faith that Christ resurrected. They also testify to Isaiah and Enoch and Jeremiah and Daniel and all these other prophets who saw visions. They saw with their eyes, eyewitness testimony. They saw heaven open. And Jesus standing at the right hand of God, Stephen in Acts 7, they saw the firmament being rolled back like a scroll in Isaiah 34:4. They saw these things. Enoch got a tour of the creation model. He saw these things. Like, this is eyewitness testimony passed down through the most trusted sources. Not only is it historical, yeah, but that is the claim of the scripture. Like, the same guy that you put your faith in because he raised from the dead and he's the only reason you have faith, he quotes from Enoch. He testifies to Isaiah. He is affirming these people who claim to have seen the firmament above you. You cannot be a pastor and claim that these things are fanciful or reinterpreted.
It's
right. Don't you think this is a red flag, though, Sean? He claims that Jesus' word changes. He claims that God's word changes. It's not the same today, tomorrow, and forever.
You mean like the Mandela effect, or just like apostolic?
No, he says it changed, and he says the Bible can be falsified.
Yeah, he did say that.
Here's the bugger of it.
This is from a pastor.
Here's the bugger of it for me. It's like coming from a person that didn't come up in any sort of church at all. I'm looking at it from an outsider's perspective. I'm just discerning across the board. The Bible, I read the Bible, I read all sorts of things. And that I am, from an outsider's perspective, having no raise or indoctrination in faith or anything like that. I'm looking at you guys and like, who's telling the truth? And it keeps coming up biblical versus this bullshit over here. And that's where I'm coming from. I did not come up in the church, but everything that comes, I'm finding more parallels with the Bible than I am with the opposite of it. And I want that to be imparted. Yeah, that's it.
That drives you crazy.
Yeah, it drives me crazy.
Don't watch any of my interviews with pastors and professors on my channel, because you'll pull your freaking hair out, because these guys I'll put scripture on screen and say, this says this, why do you teach the opposite? And then you start seeing the tap dance, you start seeing the ad homs, seeing that you're not a real believer because you don't like my interpretation. And it's the most frustrating thing. It's not just on this topic of biblical cosmology. It is replete throughout the entire church. There's a cancer in the church of people just have been given license to remake the Bible however they see fit. and it's just it creates mass inconsistencies like you're witnessing, and it's something that we tackle every day on my channel.
Yeah,
Sounds almost like the Jesuits would be involved in some shit like that, doesn't it?
You want to know? You want to know that there needs to be a dose department of church.
Schofield,
There
anyone?
needs to be a department of church efficiency, kind of like they have a Doge going on out there right now, a government efficiency with Elon Musk and Ramaswamy.
Yeah, me and a
Yeah,
few other
interesting.
people
Yeah.
are unofficially taking that position as we're holding these pastors' feet to the fire on certain topics, and so we're trying to do it in love, but at the same time, we're realizing, hey, the words have been there the whole time. The words don't change. Your words have changed.
Yes.
So help me reconcile it, and if you can't, hopefully people stop listening to you.
But that's the thing. They have to change the words to suit their belief system, which is based on man. So they're actually going against what the Bible talks that they shouldn't be doing, because they're calling God a liar and man.
I've been doing a real study on these characters. I really have. And I know you guys have done it as well, too. And what I've broken it down to is that their entire game revolves around getting you to prove a negative.
Yeah.
Okay? That's exactly what it all comes down to. They don't want to prove their globe. Okay? They want you to disprove their globe. And that's why I always say, the observation is the default position until proven otherwise. Okay? So I don't have to prove what I observe, a level topographical stationary plane. I don't feel the shit moving. I don't see any convexity to it. Okay, so you come along and you blow this crap at me saying, oh no, you actually live on a spinning water ball that's going through space. Yeah, that's whack, dude. You're going to have to prove that.
Yeah, you got to show
Okay?
this.
How you can prove something like global Earth, which doesn't exist? You can't prove
Duffy showed
something
us two
which doesn't
pictures,
exist.
dude, tonight.
Logical fallacy.
There it is.
Yep.
We saw two pictures of the globe tonight containing
Oh, I
air.
know. Wow.
Oh, speaking of two pictures of the globe. Now, Level Earth Observer went ahead and he did a video, I think it was last year, of them showing the blue marble, right? And then it was a news clipping from NBC or ABC online or something like that. And all this and all that. They were like 40 years since the blue Earth or the blue marble, blah, 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 picture from NASA, so on and so forth. So I did a video on it. And I said, wow, this is what Level Earth Observer observed. I did a Flat Earth Friday on it as well. I went ahead and I saved the website, and I saved the site to that particular news brief. I went back today, it's gone. But check this out. What I did was I also saved the picture that they claimed. Yeah, because I knew they were going to lie. I was like, you know what they're going to do after I make this? They're going to get rid of this picture. They're going to get rid of the site and say, no, we never had this at all. So I just saved the picture and claimed. If you guys want to take a look at it, I'll be more than happy to share it.
Yeah. I just want to say something I actually wanted to bring up when you showed those two globes, because I said you have different models. Does he know that when you do VFX, you are able to do layovers? So they're able to just have a screen partition in front of different clouds on the same model, which gives different clouds, and just take photos. It's called video effects, VFX, for a reason. And there's a reason NASA and other space agencies have VFX studios.
Yeah. Well,
And they have always.
Here's a problem with the picture. Here's a problem with that picture. Okay. Is that a first-hand observation, Will? No, that is not a first-hand observation. Therefore, you can't use that. Okay. And unfortunately for everyone, because of the fact that video and photographs can and have been manipulated since their inception,
since the
we cannot
1800s.
use those as proof of anything. Now, here's what stands as proof. I've been asked a million times, what would you consider proof of a globe? I say anything that is beyond a reasonable doubt, just like in a court of law. Okay? You show me proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, here's a good thing you could probably do. Show me consistent convexity from a single point, 360 degrees. They always want to use a theodolite, but they're only using half of the fucking tool. Where's your marker post? Where's your marker post? You don't have to go a whole mile. Just show enough convexity in all directions, 360 degrees from a single point, corresponding to the radius value given. If you don't have that, I don't give a shit about your misinterpretation of long distance observations.
Yep.
All you're doing to me is telling me I'm a dumb fuck and I don't know how my eyes work.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you got to
Just
remember.
say
You got
thank
to remember.
you,
Tom,
Face Reality, for your $2 super chat. He says the easiest FE observation is emotionless Earth. Agreed. Thank you very
Interesting
much.
fact
for that.
about
NASA knows
The
this.
big one on that, Sav, is like really important. And it's really important to understand is I think there was a cutoff where they were teaching geometry and trig somewhere in the late 90s, early 2000s, where they didn't teach it anymore. We were still taught it in the 80s and 90s when I went to high school and college. And I had to dig back into that shit just to learn, like how the thing worked. I had to go back, like in 2015 when this whole thing broke and my mind blew up. I had to I'm gonna have to learn geometry again. So I went back and it was still in there. I was still caught up in there. There was an entire generation that never got taught it. They don't even understand why when you square a line, it curves it. They don't understand that.
They get this
They
new
don't
math.
get it. They don't get it.
New math.
It's mysticism to them, but to us, it's what we learned.
Yeah.
We learned why you can. It's not 8 inches per mile because that would be a slant. Yeah, and some pyramid earthers would say that's what it is. I don't care.
Squared.
But what I'm saying is, when you square
Squared.
it, it curves it, and it turns it Fibonacci, and that's how you measure it. And I think it's
exponential. It's an exponential.
It's an exponential.
That's
and
the
a
thing
very
we don't
good
understand.
measurement. And it works.
But in all reality, Lowry, this is the thing. They always want to give you this. We know the Earth is a globe. Really? How do you know that? Look at the fucking sky. And I'm like, holy God.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, oh my God.
And just them alone getting us in the conversation and spinning us up, they get us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is why I'm like, we just need to walk away from them, ignore them.
No, Vlad. They don't get my loosh, Vlad.
He did
They
that
do
to
not get
Flat.
my loosh.
Yeah, and they
He
got
did it to Flatzoid with the fucking Earth pictures. Now
Yes,
you're arguing about the validity of the picture. That's all.
Yeah, and it's
Okay?
like
all you have to do is say, I'm sorry.
That's
not
why.
a first-hand
That's why I
observation."
called him out. It's like you're sending me to Narnia.
Yeah.
I know that was really good.
Narnia. Just show me a demonstration with gas pressure containment. That's all I'm asking.
It was funny in the chat. People were like, they didn't get the joke that you did. And I saw it. There was also like Austin did it on Tim Pools. It was like the whole Narnia joke. It's like once you introduce Narnia, it sort of builds a bridge to Disneyland, which is Jack Parsons and all that bullshit that they did with, Werner von Braun. They built up this whole bullshit Disneyland Spaceball shit back in the 60s. Like when you start using those words, people were like, what is he talking about? Narnia. That was a movie I saw once, and you can actually be like, okay, now you see the thing that they built for everyone to live in, which is a complete construct. It's a bullshit lie. Yeah. And like me, I never went to Disneyland. I wanted to go when I was a kid. I'm glad my parents didn't take me, but it's like, it's a bullshit construct of what you think it is. It's an inversion of the place that we live in. And that's what apparently the great, you call him the devil, call him the great person that's against the rest of us. His job is to be a deceiver. And what does a deceiver do? He takes this and he makes it this.
Yep.
And that's yin and yang.
Yeah.
That's yin and yang, man. That's where we're at.
It drives me wild.
But in it. So what's the connection between the NASA and the Disneyland? The guy who
my God, they all work together.
They act as if these globe people act as if what we're saying is so untrue. And so I sit there and I'm like, okay, so then if you don't believe that the Earth is flat, it is what it is. What is it that you do believe? What is it that you think is real? So then things like, oh, well, aliens, they come from Zeta Reticuli and this one and that one. And so they're going to believe these crazy stories. And I'm sitting there like, so you're going to believe that? You're going to believe that they're coming from these faraway places going up top. You're going to believe all of that. But if we could show you and demonstrate to you that these things are in fact true, what we're telling you, this is true.
Human constructs. They are human constructs. They were made by humans. They were made for people to believe and live in, to invert your actual reality. It's just what it is.
Have you guys ever?
It only took them 3 generations to do it. 1958 through current. That's about 3 generations, and they got everyone to believe that Narnia exists out there, and you can fly around Spaceballs.
They
got 3 generations. That's it.
Have you guys ever read the book Gulliver's Travels?
Yeah,
I
love
haven't
that.
read it. I haven't read it. I have a copy.
When I was a little kid, man,
By Swift, right?
Brenda actually thought, okay, you know how the Lilliputians had a war over which end of the egg to open, right?
Yeah.
And Gulliver told him break it in the middle and shit. I heard Brenda on one of these panels one night. She said that was actually happened in history. I had to tell her, I said, no, man, that's from Gulliver's Travel. That didn't really happen, bro.
Some people think that book, because in part 3 of that book, it talks about the Lilliputians who live in the sky, and how they are fascinated with astronomy. So do you guys mind if I read just a couple paragraphs of a short description of that? Because it's extremely relevant to what we're dealing with today. And this was written like 250 years ago. So Laputa was this city that was floating in the sky electromagnetically, and it's a male-dominated society. The wives often requested to leave the island below so they can go have affairs on their husbands, because the husbands were obsessed with astronomy and music that was coming from the spheres in the sky. They believed in astrology, and they constantly worried that the sun would go out. You know, that supernova that we're always being fear-doomed with. They also obsessed over different parts of astrology because of their concern of the sun, and because they justified it by some of the scriptures that talk about in Isaiah 25, the sun growing, or Isaiah 30, the sun growing hotter, 7 times brighter, and it going dark in Matthew 24 at the second coming of Christ. And it says the Laputian houses were built poorly. They were without accurate right angles, and basically the husbands were so abstracted in mathematical and musical calculations that they didn't realize their families were falling apart and their wives were adulterous. So due to their fervent intellectual pursuits, the Laputians depicted as becoming so lost in thought that they did not move unless struck by their bladder, causing them to go to the bathroom. Many of their heads had become so stuck, reclined to one side, that they often suffered from strabismus, which is one eye turns inward, because they would look in their microscopes and their telescopes all day long. So intent are the Laputians in their scientific studies that they cannot function in the everyday world. So this is, they created all types of mathematical theories that had no relation to reality.
That's fascinating.
Isn't this crazy? Like Jonathan Swift is talking about how this became an obsession. And we see, like, you know, math is reality, right? Red's rhetoric. I was at lunch today, and there was a group of college kids at a table next to me, and they were talking about classes, and I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. The tables were close together, so I couldn't help it. And they're talking to themselves in language, in joking and mathematical terms to themselves as a joke, and then started talking about space concepts, things that we would all understand are not verified, they're not real, and they were giving themselves nicknames about quasars and, you know, phantasm, like all kinds of different concepts. And then also they started giving themselves nicknames on different measurements according to space ideas. And like Ironworks was saying, this is just a story that these people have been told, and they've been for generation, not just Disney, but obviously with the Hollywood industry, as you know, cartoons for kids and now cartoons for adults, right? So it's all programming from birth to the grave, this idea of just a fanciful different reality that has no bearing on what we can actually observe and test, that they all know all the details on, just like you know all the details of your favorite book. And they're so obsessed with it. Here's the crazy part. What made me think of Jonathan Swift, these 5 to 6 college guys, they're so obsessed with making jokes, these obscure scientific jokes with each other. These 2 other extremely attractive girls came up to the table, and none of them knew what to do or say, and they were just all completely shut down. So they were so lost in their little false reality.
That's why I say it's like Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes,
it really is, you know. And you've got the guy that he knows everything about it and what a +4 elven sword will do against an orc and all that other stuff.
That's the thing.
And they think it's like real, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with these people. They think if you, let's say you're a math buff and then you're smart, okay? That doesn't make a person smart. I mean, there's a lot of very successful smart people out there that are suck at math.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really,
there's applicable math. Like I really appreciate the applicable math. It just shows me how far
build a house
is across a river with you have a shadow, and you can discern what this is. There's applicable math. It's the bullshit math that gets elevated up into stupidness, which means nothing to anybody. It's like
it's called discrete mathematics. Okay.
Yeah, but
discrete.
Look at the type of people, though. But look at the type of people.
Last episode on True or Tuesday, my brother's a math guy. He's a mathematician, right? And he's a math teacher. He's like, oh, let him know it's advanced math. I was like, whatever, dude.
Yeah,
so
but
he's
look
in
at
the chat and he's trying to, I'm sorry to cut you off, Flats, but this is like absolutely spot on what you guys are talking about.
Before you were talking about
he's in the chat. Were you there, Disclord?
I was there. I was there.
Yeah, so you were there, Lowry, where he's well, describe to me the equivalency values that explain the distance of a star. I was like, bro, listen, you're doing too much, man. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're talking all this stuff. You don't know what you're saying. Stop. Let these guys show you. You really don't.
It's like, what is applicable? What can we use to move ourselves through a normal everyday? And what would help us, like, say, build a bridge across a river or know how far something is or something like that? Those are all applicable. Everything else outside of that is like, it's like cream on the cake or like something that just doesn't make a fuck.
Well, let's put it this way. Let's say you get normal people, let's say engineers and things, okay? And they are good at the math that they do. They are a different type of people compared to people, let's for instance, that are good at math in astronomy. The people in astronomy and good at math literally think they're better than everybody else.
Well,
they just literally do think so.
Well, you want to see him trip? You want to see these globetards trip? Tell him that astronomy is not science.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Keith, you remember in history that Pythagoras, not only was he a cult member, but their motto in their cult was that numbers is essence, numbers is all. All is numbers. And so, like, they thought everything, just like today, what do we see? You know, that even though it's been materialized in artistic form, like the Matrix, everything becomes binary, zeros and ones. Everything becomes numbers. It's a Gnostic idea that comes from Platonism. Pythagoras was a cult, a serpent-worshipping cult that followed Platonic ideas, and he's the guy creating all this advanced math, and that made it so such a detrimental thing that people to be esteemed if you actually knew this stuff. That's what cults do. It's based on gnosis.
Right.
Before you were talking about the subversion, so it's exactly not 3 generations. It's enough 1 generation, around 20, 22 years old. To subvert young people and their mind. It's exactly, if you didn't see this video, I have posted on the YouTube and as well in chat here. So it's Yuri Bezmenov, the Russian ex-KGB defector. So he's exactly explaining that. So if people only think it happened in Russia, no, it's as well in the USA and the whole world.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, we've got a couple more shows I'm going to go on tonight, but like the intellect in this little chat tonight is my favorite thing of all time. Thank you, Flats. Thank you for doing your thing, and I'm gonna get off here, but like I really appreciate what happens in this chat, and I hope we get to do it again. And I think tonight's interview, Flats, you fucking drilled it, man. And and I'll see you guys, out there in the internet land.
Blessings,
man. Thanks for coming.
Sorry. Yeah, man.
All right. See ya.
Yeah, because it's anyway almost 3 a.m. Yeah. I gotta go sleep as well.
Can I touch on one thing right quick? With Go versus Travis? Come on, please.
No danger, bro.
C.S. Lewis did a similar book called Out of the Silent Planet in the trilogy. And they had these astronomers, but they built everything with narrow bases and wide at the top. Everything was at tilt all times. It was... I think C.S. Lewis was on the same track with the same. They've read most of the other writers' stuff too. They get the idea. Yeah, astronomers. They were called Sorns. They lived in the upper parts of the mountains and they just did astronomy. But when they built stuff, they built it small at the bottom, have a small base, and a very high or wide top. It's strange. That's all.
That sounds powerful. Like it's got a weak foundation with all this junk at the top.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he sent you to JPL when you gave him that super chat. Duffy did. He's like, they got better models and diagrams. They fly around this globe, is what he said, basically.
I thought that was just plain liars.
We all agree that the words have meaning here. We all can agree that words have meaning. So astronomer, astro, like astral, nomer in Indonesian language means not. So they are not going there. The same as astro astronauts. They're not going there. They can't go there.
Astronomer
the
is
same too.
star counter. It's star namer. Nomer. What's a nomer? What's a nomenclature? What is that?
Yes,
Nomer.
exactly,
Nomer.
exactly.
It's a name. So they're counting and naming stars is all they're doing.
So Keith, tonight when you asked him where he got his interpretation of the firmament, you had an incredible face where he tried to explain the Rakia was the Earth, and you were like, you're like,
oh, I got where he got that from. I got the fucking
Keith, did he send you, like, after my chat when he tried to pull that nonsense on me? He sent me that article that his former pastor wrote on the.
Oh, I've read it.
Yeah, that's what I got.
That's why I was like that, because I read it. It's total hogwash.
It's hogwash. Yeah, it's not like any. Okay, so like there's academia, Christian, seminaries, all kinds of universities where pastors are trained. They would destroy that article. Like that is the worst exegesis of scripture.
Yeah. I never heard it. I never heard of that one either. The cross is the firmament. I never heard of that one. That's
they'll say that the earth. He claims that the earth is another name for the firmament. He says in Genesis 1, there's two different firmaments being mentioned. One is the sky, which is just open space, and then the other one is actually the crust of the earth. And that's just. And so when I brought up all these scriptures to him, like, hey, well, how come it keeps saying that the heaven is above the earth, the heaven is higher than the earth, the heaven is up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't have any response.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to say thank you, Sandra, for your £2 super. It says thanks, Flats panel and chat. You rock, Sandra. Appreciate this. Yes, this is a new video from Taboo Conspiracy. Check it out. 470,000 feet. Look how flat that is.
Oh, nice.
Even concave in some degree.
Yeah,
yeah, it is.
It's all optical.
Yeah, it's all optical, and these guys, man, like, I don't know, they need saving or something.
Go and
I would like to. I would like to say congratulations to Flatzoid. He did a real good job today. And what I found interesting was that when Flatzoid was trying to explain to him that it is a false dichotomy, he completely deflected away from that argument in order to basically try to hold Flatzoid to a burden that Flatzoid had to repeat himself and say, I'm not making the claim, you're making the claim, and I'm telling you that it is a false dichotomy.
Right.
How will you overcome it? And then every time he tried to hold him to overcome it, he said, I'm going to get to it. But never did he get to it, but he never got to it. But he only got to basically trying to push Flatzoid to take a position on, well, if the sun does this, will it matter with the flat earth? Is it relevant to the earth? And Flatzoid said, well, I'm not making a claim about what the sun is doing. So will you either admit that it is a false dichotomy or not? And then he said, well, I'm going to get to it. So it just shows. And then later on during the debate, he basically said, well, Flatzoid didn't answer any of my questions, and he feels that he don't have a burden to prove, when in actual reality, he didn't answer Flatzoid's very first question, and what was the whole purpose of the whole debate at all. He just said he was going to get to it, which I feel that was it.
He didn't have anything. I think the whole thing was he thought he's going to have I got you.
Yeah.
And he didn't expect me to open with to show his whole so-called experiment is nothing but just his personal attack on Flat Earth. And that's why he pulled out the attacking my character, because he had nothing.
He was offensive from the start. He wasn't playing in defensive mode. He was the aggressive one.
He was very aggressive. And I think that Whitsitt, Jaron, Dave, everybody that associated with him, and this is not like a hit piece because these words came out of his mouth. Everybody that associated with him, what he said out of his mouth when they asked him a question, right? And it was just some random troll question, really, to Flatzoid. But what came out of his mouth afterwards was that he said, well, I wasn't suspecting this, but all of these flat earthers that's been contacting me, been telling me that they don't have any money and that they are broke and they don't have this and that. I said, well, the only people that have been contacting you is the people that's going on this trip. That's Jaron, Whitsitt, and everybody else. So that should just open everybody's eyes that this is what this guy think about you. Because not only that he's character assassinating his opponent, which is Flatzoid, where he's supposed to be having an honest debate.
He's a bigot,
He's character assassinating even the people that's saying that you was a good guy for trying to figure this out.
What's his definition of broke? That you don't have a disposable $32,000 that you can just throw on a trip to go freeze your dick off?
He's literally saying he's better than everybody.
Well, real quick, who was the gentleman just Reg?
Sorry?
Yeah, that was Reg. Hey, Reg, when I brought this up during my interview with him, and I told him that since this flat Earth topic started becoming talked about, the average person that's been looking into it, making videos about it, and everything, they're not captains of industry. They're not millionaires. They're not people that have, because millionaires don't create YouTube channels and start talking about controversial things. They're going to lose all their contracts, all their bids, all their networking. But I actually used to be a part of a project for the last few years that I was working with millionaires. And one of them told me, this has happened in the past 4 years, that he was having meetings with other people that are very wealthy investors of different types of people that could buy us all over and over, 100 times over. And he brought this topic up about, don't you think it's interesting that people are questioning the shape of the earth again? And he said, this one person he's sitting down with, this extremely wealthy man in Miami, he said, yep, it sure is. And he just smiled and he goes, what do you think about it? And he goes, well, we can really talk about these things publicly. So I'm just saying the whole vibe. Yeah, the whole vibe was even people that are intelligent that in a certain way in business intelligence, they know how to make a lot of money. They are able to look at the evidence too. They fly in planes also. They understand how much money is siphoned into nonsense stuff. Why SpaceX is getting $4 billion a year in subsidies from the U.S. government. They understand that there's a lot of theft and corruption and all this stuff as well. And because they're a part of it, they know the guys. They rub shoulders with them at the functions and the black tie events. Like, they know, so they just don't want to talk about it. And this is why I had that question last time for Flatzoid about what's the elite trying to get out of this. But ultimately, Keith, when you pressed him on the shape of the firmament, and he said to you tonight, well, there could be a firmament around the globe.
You did.
What did I just tell you like 2 weeks ago? What did I say?
He's going to say that.
I theorize that they're going to start pushing a Dyson sphere, which that's what it is, a Dyson sphere. So it's something they call a
faceted. That's why it get the flat spots and shit, because it's faceted.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's an outer containment around a planet that protects
like an eight-sided dice.
No, Dyson.
Like, you remember that?
No. But you know how the eight-sided dice have like all those edges on them.
Vlad, you remember the playground that was the dome monkey bars?
Yes.
That's a geodesic dome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
okay, that's a whole. It's all made out of straight triangles. It makes sense. That thing right there. So it's if you continue that on, you can get a Dyson sphere.
No, but see, the Dyson sphere, at least the one that I'm mentioning, is one that surrounds a planet or surrounds an a livable habitation. Like that.
Oh,
right.
Where they said, we could see this in outer space, and apparently there's some advanced civilization that encapsulated a star with some nonsense. This is what they gave us. I remember that.
They can come again with the ozone layer and the hole in the ozone. They can make connection because global warming will make connections. I'm 100% sure they will make some kind of BS connections.
Yeah, so it just makes me wonder if he's listening to our conversation or if this is what I suspected, which is they're trying to push. They're going to eventually have to incorporate FE because there's too many people realizing this now. So they're going to have to incorporate FE into the mainstream narrative, but try to explain it away with, well, we actually are enclosed by something. It's a Dyson sphere, and our creator made it, and he's coming back to see us. And it's the panspermia idea.
They're going to do another God of the Gaps argument to keep the globe, but incorporate flat Earth.
Yes.
Which remember the article from NASA a couple of years ago about the moon being inside of our atmosphere?
Mm-hmm.
They're prepping all this, in my opinion. They're prepping.
Yes, exactly.
They did say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got.
Go ahead.
I got a question for Reg. Hey, Reg, why do all these globies always go straight to Cavendish, dude? Like earlier in Discord, that was.
Oh yeah.
If I was a Glober, I would be utterly embarrassed.
By God.
If my proof of gravity was some janky contraption devised by some 18th century lead-eating elite crackpot. Okay, that right there is your proof of gravity right there, and you based all these talk about a weak foundation. right? Like you were talking about with the Lilliputians, the weak foundation and the fucking grand structure above. Oh no, it was Roger talking about that. That's what their whole shit is based on. And they call that an experiment because let's look at what he was doing, right? He wasn't trying to get mass attracting mass. That wasn't the whole. That was he was trying to calculate the mean density of the Earth. This means that he already predisposed not only the materials that the entire Earth was composed of, but also the radius of it, which had still to yet not been proven at all. Okay, so everything was based on speculation. So he went about trying to calculate the mean density of the Earth. Okay, wonderful for you. Now, they use it to show mass attracting mass. It's not. It's just two unbalanced fucking objects. That's all. It's just torsion dynamics. It's not an experiment. No controls were in any place whatsoever. No independent variable was modified or modulated.
But
The
I want to
whole
ask you
thing is a
something, Sov.
joke, and it has to start. Every experiment starts with a natural observation, something we see occur in nature. When has anybody ever seen two objects drawing toward one another?
Well, Sov, I want to know something. Why is it that when there's a full moon or the sun's up and stuff, it doesn't attract those objects towards them? Why is it that you can't just lay it down? You just lay the Cavendish down, just leave it, and as soon as the sun comes past in the day, it moves towards the sun.
Don't you know I jump higher when the sun's up?
There we go.
Do you, Sean?
I'm like on Super Mario 2. I'm like,
well, and the thing about the gravity is what holds the air to the Earth, right? And the moon has gravity, and it pulls on the water of the Earth. Why doesn't it pull on the air? Wouldn't it be easier for it to pull the air than it would be to pull the water?
And the moon doesn't have air.
Jeez.
Apparently.
I mean, if it can move that billions and millions and trillions of tons of water, right, and pull that shit several meters from its natural position as where it lays, surely it would suck the air right off the Earth. My God.
Yeah, not just that. There's that negative 10 to the 17 torr.
Oh my God.
Low pressure that's on the moon. But then somehow the moon has water and ice at the same time.
Oh,
well, it probably was a planet at some point in time, Vlad. You know, it probably wasn't, and it
the moon used to be
de-evolved.
part of Earth. Remember, if you know
and then
about
it like broke off and like it smoothed itself out into a cue ball.
But that makes you think as well, since they claim moon rocks, okay, from the moon, and the moon used to be part of Earth, isn't it plausible we could just find it on Earth?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, here's what gets me. That one side of that Earth of that moon is always facing the Earth. That one side, right? And it's covered with craters. Did we have a war with the moon or something? How in the hell did something get past the Earth and hit the moon? Straight on.
Yeah. Remember, with perfect straight 90-degree craters. Yeah. But as Neil deGrasse Tyson says, just the magic speed.
Yes.
There's a great video related to the craters on the moon.
Yeah.
And it's related to the substance, and that creates the same kind of volcans when there are bubbles bursting.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good comparison. I don't think that the moon is solid, but we can't really prove one or another. But it's very interesting what the guy was showing.
I personally think the crater is a result of the electrical charge in the waters of the heaven that the moon's sitting in. So if you put, I know the moon's not a potato, just hear me out. If you put a piece of a potato with electrical current through it, it creates those pop marks, just like we see on the moon.
Yeah. So you started another cult, Sean.
Yeah, I know, right? Potato cults.
What's his name showed something similar, maybe not exactly like you're mentioning, Sean, but what's his name? Flat Out Truth, Terry Eicher. He explained this phenomena. And so, like, he showed it. I didn't really get it, but keep going with this whole potato thing. I'm interested.
Yeah, well, basically, it's just the electrical current, in water. It creates effects on matter. And so it looks, if the biblical description is correct, and there's a sea suspended above the firmament, because it's suspended by the firmament, and the sun and moon and the sun and moon stars are in the upper layer above the firmament that encloses us, then from all the descriptions I've read in the biblical literature, it seems as if the moon is in the second layer of the firmament, which would be possibly in that water. And that could be why the phases, the waxing and waning of the moon is it's growing in light, as the Bible says, because the electrical charge is changing, causing it to fluoresce. And so whatever substance it is, we don't know, but that would make sense why it waxes and wanes. And I even asked Duffy in my interview, I said, so what's going on with the moon? Why are you just trying to look at the sun to determine the shape of the earth? Why? Because the moon's going around too, right? And he goes, well, we don't need the moon to figure this out. And I'm like, look, man, I said, do you even know where the moon goes? Can you even tell me in the heliocentric model why we can't see the moon for 3 days during the quote unquote new moon phase? He had no clue. He had no clue about the new moon phase. And
like,
he thinks that you could still see it somewhere else on the earth. He doesn't realize it disappears in the heliocentric model.
Everybody.
It doesn't even. It won't. It's not even It's not even detectable with infrared. Nothing.
That's
it's
right.
Gone. It's rather than a new moon. It should be called a no moon.
No moon.
That's right.
Or a gnomon. You know that's the name of that big old fin on the top of a sundial. It's called a gnomon. A gnomon. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Which I said they should call it a yes-mon in the southern hemisphere because it points in the opposite direction.
So it's going to no man's land?
Well, I'm clearly not through the entire debate tonight.
But
I think Keith's favorite line, my favorite line tonight from Keith so far, as I've watched the debate so far, he said, where in the Bible does it say that God changed the earth? And Duffy's
he literally was trying to
Duffy's
make that claim.
response was, well, God does stuff, right?
Oh my God, I know, right?
You can't even get mad at him. You just like, bro.
Like, Pastor, please put the mic down. Go sit
Yeah,
back down.
like, yo, Pastor, yo, just come with me, man. Have a seat, man.
I just
have some water.
I want to tell everybody that here at 9:30, I'm going to be on both Rumble and YouTube. I'm going to start out on both, and then we're going to go over to Rumble because we're going to be showing a movie that I found called The Land Unknown. And it's really interesting because it was made just before the Antarctic Treaty and after Operation High Jump. And it's a sci-fi movie. It's a B-grade sci-fi movie, but it starts out, they're showing stuff from the Operation High Jump, and then they're briefing these scientists and military about all the stuff from Operation High Jump because they're getting ready to go on and continue the expedition and go further into Antarctica. And they end up coming to an area of almost prehistoric beyond the ice. It's going to be kind of fun. What I want to do with it is, maybe a couple of you might want to come on and we can like match up people that are going on the final experiment with characters in the movie, just for fun, because there is a woman, and so Lisbeth could be represented even. And, that could be kind of fun. But I thought it was an interesting thing because you never saw a movie made with that premise involved. For the rest of the time, it was always going into the earth or out into space. There was never this premise of a movie, from the best of my knowledge, ever explored again. And I think that it's going to be kind of interesting.
What year was it made?
1957.
Okay, wow.
Wow.
Weird year. Telling you.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I've got the actual movie poster as my thumbnail up right now.
Is Elizabeth gonna be the only woman down there?
Yes, she is, as far as I know.
My knowledge. I mean, as far as tourists, I think there's
like
women
the
that work down there and shit.
It's like the Smurfs and Smurfette, man.
I think she.
I was thinking more like a pirate movie where there's only one winch on board, and you're gonna have some issues.
Yeah, Sean, to touch on that electric moon thing, we actually got Mikey caught some electric squiggles that shoot from the edge of the moon on film.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Remember Mikey's observations I brought to you, Dave? You could actually see parts of the firmament behind the stars and stuff. You can see a dome almost. Yeah, he's doing the same thing with the moon too.
That's what I theorize is the double sun that Crow 777's seeing. He's just seeing its reflection off the back encasement of the firmament that it's sitting in.
Yeah,
that's just my theorization.
But did I hear Will Duffy correctly when he said that he's going to go across? They are going to go across the entire globe and check all of the sunspots to prove this claim correct.
Yeah, he thinks that somehow makes it. He doesn't understand, even on a flat Earth, that still shows the same. do you know in the northern and the southern hemisphere, even the moon, it's inverted but the same face because of your location? This is something globers don't understand. Perspective is a thing. Location changes your perspective view. It's the same thing you're looking at, just from a different angle. So they don't understand, even if the sunspots are now mirrored, it doesn't mean globe. It's still a flat Earth.
Yep.
They're just too stupid to understand this.
Hey, Flatzoid, I told Jaron today, I was chatting with him. I told him, I says, you're going to get down there, you're going to wake up, and then you're going to find this in your sleeping bag right next to you. And I showed him this picture right here. You're going to love it. I said, you're going to wake up, that's going to be in your sleeping bag.
No.
Wow.
Oh, it's so bad.
That's bad. Sorry, guys. I
He
have
actually
to
took that picture. All right,
yeah,
guys.
sorry, guys. I'm going to have to end it. Yeah, it's 3:10 in the morning.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I have sleep to do. I was up at 5 a.m. this morning, and my children are probably going to wake me up at 6. So I think it's time to go.
Well, enjoy your vacation, Flats, man. You deserve
enjoy
it.
your vacation.
I still got a week of work.
Oh, good God.
So Saab, you're gonna go on. Me, I'm gonna go on probably like an hour or so after you, just so you know. So I'm not trying to step on your toes or nothing.
Yeah, don't worry to me. I mean, it's like, it's just like TV. Somebody's got a choice of shit to watch, and it's not like you can't go back and watch it, right?
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I'll put this is the Rumble link, and people are probably best to just go ahead and go to that link because it's to the Rumble link, because we're going to cut out of YouTube shortly after being on there. I'm trying not to give YouTube any more attention than I actually have to, just because of just how shitty they are with everybody. I don't know if many of you know this or not, but
Yeah, we have noticed. That's why I've been asking you, okay, because we haven't seen you in such a long time.
Oh yeah, no, I've just been regrouping, doing some other shit. The thing is it's like, if you've seen where Alex Lowry is now pretty much shit canning YouTube as well for the other platforms because of just the crap that you get. I mean, every day you wake up and wondering if you're going to get some kind of a notification or whatever. I got one the other day. They went back a year and got rid of one. Said, it doesn't follow our community standards or whatever. And I'm like, well, big surprise. Have you watched my show? Jesus Christ. Your community standards are like a little nanny pot or some kind of crap, So bite it. I'm not going to give you any, and I don't want to be monetized by them either. I really don't, because they're screwing the people that they're paying. They are totally screwing the creators, right? And they're raking in all kinds of money, meanwhile strangleholding you all the time. And I'm like, I'm not even going to give you the satisfaction. I'll come on here, I'll talk for a little bit, and then I'll say, hey, everybody, let's go over to where we can have fun. Mom and Dad are going to bed. Good night. Click. We're going over to Rumble. Let's do it.
Yep.
Well, with some of the people you have on your channel sometimes, so it's no wonder you still have a channel.
I'll tell you what, I get some views.
Okay, so yeah, guys, I want to say thank you all for coming. This was I wasn't even going to have an after show, and then I said, okay, let's just have a quick after show. Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you for everybody coming. I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody's likes and shares and super chats and whatever. You guys rock. And yeah, see you guys all tonight for another stream.
Much
Probably going to be Birdman number 2.
Holy crap, they already got another one going on.
Oh, yeah, he's him again. He said something else?
Oh, yeah, he responded it like 3 days ago again. Another 2-hour stream about me, video about me.
I thought he said he wasn't going to respond anymore.
All these big channels are now very interested in me all of a sudden.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah,
shut him down. Get him.
Get your game on.
Oh, they got Elizabeth Austin and Jaron are all on Jaron's channel right now live.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so yeah.
And MDD's got another live debate going right now. Are trans women? I'll bet you $100 without even going there yet. I'll bet you $100 that Brenda's in there. I guarantee
it. With this fake voice. Yes, they are women. Like, oh Lord, here we go.
Well, Flat's got the man out of him.
Yeah, but look at that difference. It's only 138 watching. When we started, we were over 1,000 people watching me. We were at 1,800 at this stage. So
Wow, that's
people
so
wanted to
lot.
watch me and Duffy. That was a cool.
Yeah, it hit 1,000. It stayed at 1,000 for a while too. Y'all
Yeah, it
did
was
good.
an average 1,200 about.
That's
Yeah,
good.
y'all did good.
So a lot of people saw how false dichotomy works.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they watched William Duffy
did
be
not like
totally
that.
Someone
dishonest.
refused to see it because they want to stay in their
I don't
bubble of thought.
care about the dishonest people. This is for the honest people that I do this.
Yeah.
Because there's a few people that actually watch it and are like, yeah, this is not right, man. I don't care about those trolls that they've made up their mind. They'll just ridicule and whatever.
Oh
Those
yeah.
people are just, yeah, I don't care.
They expose themselves, honestly.
One
that
global
was
at a time. One global at a time. The flat Earth is
Yeah,
That was
Matthew,
a
you can join anytime, mate.
yeah. That was the first time I ever seen instant ad homs he had on cue.
Yeah,
He played clips.
Well,
he's
his first
you can tell
rebuttal.
he's coached.
Yeah, what was
His
that
first
about?
rebuttal was, okay, when I say it's not science or false dichotomy, oh, you and your 11 frames.
Like what?
What's that got to do with what I just said?
No. They never refer to science. They always refer to scientism.
Like he had a total hit pieces about Flatzoid personally made.
Yeah,
And
he
then
had to take time and get those videos.
and then when Flatzoid showed a video that he put out, he's going to accuse Flatzoid of creating a hit piece about him. I'm like, dude, we just watched a personally made edited video that you made about
A
Flatzoid.
few of them. Yeah, mine was from the documentary.
We did.
Literally letting him say his words. I didn't change anything. I didn't take out of context. I just put it on. I took his background music off because it's copyrighted and I put my own. That was it. And I put it on a TV.
He
He
took his
edited,
time.
edited videos too.
Thank you, Ironworks, for your
Africa.
$2 super chat. He says, Peer character turning around, waving his hand, saying, hey, you, while lowering his glasses.
Yeah, it's one of those little. I don't know if it's an emoji thing. It just comes. Whatever, man. Yeah, you're welcome, man. It's some
Thank you very
nonsense
much.
that YouTube does. I don't know. And if you don't
I
mind, man,
appreciate
if after Sav, if you guys want to join, boom. Same here. I got YouTube and Rumble as well. It's the same thing here, baby. I'm starting to just wean myself from the YouTube diet, and then I'm starting to go over to Rumble because YouTube does not play nice, man. I'm expecting Rumble's going to wind up going the same way, ultimately, probably, but it is what it is, man. So join us tonight, Flat Earth Friday. We're going to be discussing some stuff, especially with these new characters in the White House. You know what I'm saying? Not talking about, wanting to talk about some things and not talking about anything at the same time.
Yeah. So,
Have a
hey,
blessed night, guys.
Matthew.
I got to jump.
Yeah. Cheers,
Hey,
Sean.
what's up, Flatzoid? How you doing?
Getting yourself, man.
I'm awesome. And Sean, you're taking off. Oh, nice. I
Yeah,
like that
to go.
dude, Sean. I like his show. He's cool. And
Yeah, sure.
hey, Flatzoid, you did great against Will Duffy. You did awesome.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I think he probably should have had like a few practice debates first, just to kind of like understand the flow. But I want to ask you, did you see my debate against Craig the other day?
No, do you have a link that I can quickly?
It was on Modern Day Debate. We debated is the final experiment a hoax? And honestly, he got the beat down. He got a serious beat down. We went at it for 4 hours. And I proved that the 24-hour sun in Antarctica is possible. Right? I proved it with Polaris. Right? Very simply, that what's crucial for a phenomenon like the 24-hour sun would be an axial tilt. And I used Polaris' stationary position and the fixed rotation of stars to disprove the idea of an axial tilt. And it was embarrassing for Craig because he used his own computer programs to show the impossibility of what they're talking about. So
I saw your debate on there. I'll look at it. I did.
Yeah, I got it here open. Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it, man.
I didn't know you did that. That's a good move.
Oh wow, I'm gonna watch it too. Put the link on.
So far, Flatzoid, it's you and me that have been taking on the final experiment. so far.
We have to.
Well, we gave him hell on Vlad's channel, buddy, a few months ago. You need to go back and check that one out, bro.
It was,
We were
yeah, it
calling him
was,
out on his financial
yeah,
bullshit and everything, man.
yeah. He wasn't
Nice.
ready for that. That was nasty.
Yeah,
I wasn't
I
ready
seen
for it.
Flat Earth Banjo did some great videos about that. That's where I learned a lot about the corrupt Will Duffy and the phony final experiment and this thing happening with Austin and Jaron, how they became globers around the time of the summer solstice, which was something I was thinking about that other people were talking about, like today, that they could have already filmed the summer solstice and just flipped the image. You know what I mean? Reverse it. Wear reverse symbols on their clothes. Wear reverse like watches. You know what I mean? And it's them. It would be them, right? They would be talking, hey, Austin, look at which direction is the sun, bro. Oh, hey, Jaron, it's over there, man. You know what I mean? And it's all phony. And you know what it reminds me of? The fake moon landing. It's like the same thing as the fake moon landing. We're supposed to believe these figures, everything they say. And I'll bet the moon landing was supposed to end flat Earth. It didn't.
Yeah.
Right? But it took time for people to figure it out. But this final experiment, it's easier because they're making mistakes now. They're blundering now.
And they're failing
They
to
postpone Artemis again.
They're what? Wait.
Oh, yeah,
They
they
just
postponed it.
Yeah, they postponed Artemis again.
Oh,
Big
so
surprise.
it's another few years. But you know
Matt,
what?
it's always the same thing.
You know what they seem to forget is that everybody's watching. Everybody's watching. It's like you got so many smart people everywhere. You can think you're the smartest, but there's always a bigger and badder fish out there. So many people are watching, and they're going to tear it apart. So I can't wait for whatever they come with.
Everybody like and subscribe. We gotta let Flatzoid go to sleep.
Yeah, I gotta go
Flats,
sleep,
bro.
Oh, yeah. Bye, Flatzoid. Love you, Flatzoid.
The Antarctic adventure here, and now I'm out, bud.
Hey, was one of you guys doing it? Was one of you guys doing an after show? Because I think one of you was saying you were going to do like an after show. That'd be cool to talk more about this.
Yeah, I'm going to be going on at 9:30. We're going to talk about this for a little bit, and then I'm going to screen a movie, and it's a B-grade movie from 1957. And it's the only movie I've ever seen where it's an expedition that's going to go beyond Admiral Byrd's high jump. And it's cool. And that kind of thing. And I thought one of the fun things would be to try to match up some of the cast with some of the people going on the final experiment.
Flatzoid about to cry, man. He trying to get that.
Yeah. Hey, but what's the name of your channel? Last thing. What's the name of your channel so I can find it?
Okay, I just put it in. I'll put it in over here. Yeah, I'm going to put the Rumble because that's where we're going to cut YouTube after a little while and then go to Rumble.
Okay.
So I'll put it over here.
Well, I can't see the chat, but I'll remember that. Sovereign Soul.
Yeah, Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. I just put it over here in the private chat. You might be able to see it there. And
I'll go ahead and I'll put mine because I'm going to have Flat Earth Friday at 11:30 tonight.
I can't see it. I'll just look for Sovereign Soul. I'll just try to find that. I don't see it on the chat.
SSUM 3690.
Okay.
SSUM.
I don't even have a pen. I don't even have a pen available. But I'll just try looking for Sovereign Soul. I'll look Sovereign Soul, YouTube. And from there, I'll do it.
You'll see a Gleason's map with a flat Earth model setting in the North Pole. It's the logo.
Nice, I'll do it. But hey, all right, love you guys. I'm out. I love your guys' work. See you guys later, okay? Bye.
Bye.
See you guys later.
All right, peace, y'all.
Later.
Good nighty.
Good night. Hey, just work.
In God's plan, my path renews. Flat Earth made by Him, my journey long yet thin. Purpose found in every day, guided by His gentle sway.